Hey guys, Benji here. Question of the week, and here's the question. Do you consider yourself an optimist or a pessimist? And I would say, if I had to think about it, I would say mostly optimist. I would say, yeah, I would say 100% optimist. I always assume that things are going to work out for me. And I think, yeah, I think both of my wives would think that they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Benji always thinks it's going to work out for him, and for some reason it does." And it doesn't really, but that's just the ones that they remember, right? But but I definitely think, yeah, it's probably going to work out. But I also think I have realistic expectations a lot of times. I think sometimes people have bad expectations. I think it's not a better question, it's a different question. I was going to say better. But I think people, yeah, let's say taking a vacation. I think people have ideas of what they see on Instagram of what vacation is going to be like and how it's going to be just incredible. And so sometimes they can become let down or pessimistic about, oh, I thought this was going to be great. It's not as cool. Look at our hotel. It had a beach view, but it's not this pretty. And so I think sometimes they have this unattainable expectation, and so that makes things hard. And then you do that a few times, then you become pessimistic about everything. Um, yeah, yeah, I agree with that. But back to the optimist pessimist thing, I I don't know why some people are optimistic and some people are pessimistic. Because I think on some things I can be pessimistic. Like when I play golf, I'm typically pessimistic. I typically think, you know, if I start off with four pars, a bogey, and a birdie, and I'm even through, call it 6 or 7 holes, I don't think like today's the day that I'm gonna set my personal best record. I don't think today's the day that I'm gonna shoot 69. I don't. I mostly think, oh, don't, if your friends are giving you crap about, oh, look who's freaking even through seven. I'm like, well, just wait. I've got bogeys and double bogeys, that are headed my way. And so I think a lot of times I'm pessimistic on that or pessimistic on an outcome or anything. But but I think overall in life I have good expectations, and so then I feel like I'm optimistic about the outcomes because I've set realistic expectations, if that makes sense. Right? I mean, if you own a business or you have a sales territory or anything, right? I don't say own a business because that's what we have here. And you're like, next year, I'm optimistic that we're going to hit $10 million in revenue. You're like, oh, what'd you do last year? Like 3.8. Like, well, you're going to be let down. And if you keep having those optimistic view, you're going to be let down. And that's not optimistic. That's stupid, right? So there needs to be a difference between having expectations that are out of this world versus realistic. So, and probably I would probably call myself that. I probably wouldn't say optimist or pessimist. I would say that I'm a realist. I would say that when I go out to play golf, I know that I'm probably going to shoot 83. I'm probably going to shoot 81 to 86. That's just what's going to happen. And so when I do, I'm like, oh yeah, that was great. And I had fun. It was a good group of guys, and that was a fun outing, right? That's all I think. And when I go on vacation, I don't think that we're gonna show up and it's gonna be the Ritz Carlton in Manhattan, New York. I I look at the pictures and I understand, the price point that I'm paying, and I understand what it's gonna be. Now sometimes they go above and beyond, and sometimes you get to a hotel or a city and you're like, man, not as good as I thought. And that's okay, but I'm not that disappointed because I didn't think it was going to be like it looked on Instagram, right? Like when, you know, you know, Jen can sometimes get like, man, it's so crowded here. Some of these pictures these people showed of I forget what it's called, Trevi Fountain or whatever. I mean, they must be taking it at 6 a.m. in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, because they're showing like 5 people standing around, and you walk up to the front and you throw a freaking coin over your shoulder, and you're like, that's not realistic. You know what's realistic? Here's video, and there's 1,000 people around this fountain. It's jam-packed for 30 rows of people, and you have to scoot back to actually get a view of it. So I don't even know if this is optimistic or pessimistic anymore, this conversation that I'm having right now. But I think being a pessimist would be brutal. If you constantly think like, this is gonna suck, this isn't gonna work out. I never think that. Now, I think it's a outcome, I think, of having this. I think it's an outcome of having money, right? I think if you have money, you kind of always think like, if it's bad, I'll fix it, right? If we go on vacation and the hotel's horrible, I'm not gonna just sit there and stay 10 days in a hotel that I feel like I'm gonna get mugged or broken into or something, and I'll just move, right? We actually did it last year at Christmas in New York. We got to this hotel, and hot water wasn't hot, and the rooms were tiny, and it was miserable. Well, luckily I was able to say like, hey, we don't have hot water, we got to get out of here. No, actually he didn't refund us. I had to get it credited back through the credit card that I booked it on. But either way, I mean, it was nice that I went through my credit card and got it. I disputed it and said, gave my evidence and blah, blah, blah. And we won. But either way, we were moving to, I don't remember where we stayed, but it was somewhere, it was a better location. It was up closer towards the city. We were kind of down towards Brooklyn, almost like in between. We were like at First Street. So this was at like 30th, so you're getting up closer to the stuff. I didn't really know where to book when I was doing it, but yeah, and it's fine. The location was fine. You can take a subway anywhere and get to anywhere. And we were seeing people in Brooklyn. So it made it nice for that location, but it was fine from the hotel we ended up in. But that next hotel was great. But if that hotel was horrible and we couldn't get out of not paying it, I'm still paying for the new hotel. So my point is that if money isn't, I'm not saying we have endless money, but if you've done okay for yourself financially and you get to a spot, you feel like it'll work out. It'll be fine. Oh, this restaurant that we made reservations to, we went there and the food was atrocious and we couldn't eat it. Well, that's okay. We're going to go out and we're going to find some street vendor. We're going to get some really good, gyros or, something to eat, and it's going to be great. And so I constantly have that attitude of like, it'll be fine. And if you show up for a golf trip and the first day you play the course and you're going to play it 3 days in a row or something, and it's horrible, well, let's just go find another place. We'll just go find another course and we'll go play there, and everything will be fine. So I constantly think like it'll work out. And for the most part, that doesn't come up that often, right? For the most part, it does work out and it is fun. And sometimes when things go bad, it is a funny story and it's something to remember, right? We talk about it. It's only been 10 months, but we talk about those rooms in New York. Like, remember when we showed up and those rooms were like 10 by 10, maybe, not even 9 by 9. You couldn't walk around the bed without, like, you couldn't just walk, you had to shuffle around the bed. It was just a room with a bed in it, and there was about a 2-foot walkway around the entire thing. That's all it was. So we make fun of that, and it's crazy. And then that we moved to this next hotel that we booked that was cheaper, and it was 4 times the size, right? They were huge rooms that had these suites and then these kitchens and it was couches, and it was fabulous. So it ended up working out. And so I think if it does end up keep working out for you, then you become an optimist. But I think part of that is having the resources to make those things happen. So I don't know if we were raised poor, so we didn't have money, but I don't think of myself being a pessimist during that time. But if you go on enough vacations or you do enough things or jobs or you try businesses and things end up working out in the long term, I think you kind of assume like, well, it worked out last time and it worked out the time before. and it worked out that time. I mean, if 9 out of 10 times it works out somehow where you end up having a good time or you have a good job or the business succeeds or anything, well, I think eventually you're just going to go off past as prelude to say, hey, it's probably going to work out. It'll probably be okay. If it constantly doesn't work out and you book a bad place and you don't have the money or the resources to say, like, we got to get out of this, we got to move to someplace else, and we make it better. Well, then you stay on vacation and you're miserable and you come back and you're like, that sucked. And you do that, let's say 3 out of 5 times, 3 out of, half the time it works out bad, you might become a pessimist. You might go, this never works out for me. This sucks. I never can catch a break. So I think some of it is your lot in life, So if things work out for you, you tend to think it will continue to work out. And if things don't work out for you, you'll continue to think it doesn't work out. But do I consider myself, that's the real question. Do you consider yourself an optimist or pessimist? Optimist, yeah, 100%. But more realistically, it's funny I use that word, I would say that I'm a realist. I have good expectations on everything, whether it's starting a business or, I understand that when I have an idea for a business and you put together a P&L, like, and you say, hey, it's going to make $10 million. Well, the first thing you can do with that P&L is cut it in half. And then the second thing you should do with that P&L is cut it in half again. And there's your real P&L, right? And so I think that that's good with everything, is to say, hey, you moving to this new house, it's not going to change your life. It's not going to make things the most incredible thing in the world. It's going to be better. You're going to have more space. Look, you have bigger closets. That's nice, but it's not going to change your world. You going from your old junker car to a brand new car, again, for a month, you're going to love that car. And then it's just going to be a car. And at some point, the brakes are going to go out and you're going to think this stupid car sucks too. And then the freaking starter doesn't work and you got to take it in for some recall. And so just have realistic expectations to go, this car is great and it's awesome. It's better than my last one. That might be my best point. Here's my whole thing of life and decisions making is that, is it better than what I currently have? Then I'm all for it. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not going to do this because it's not going to change the world for me. Like, if it's not that big a deal, but it's a little bit better, then let's just do that. Oh, we could do this and it'll be better. Okay, do that. Just keep doing the little, tiny little pieces better. And life ends up being better on the whole. But again, are you an optimist or a pessimist? I think it comes down to your past. I think it comes down to, were you able to make things work out in the past? And do things tend to work out for you? If they do, you're going to think they're going to work out again. And if you don't, you're probably going to assume like this isn't going to work. And then you're going to if every vacation you go on sucks, eventually you're going to go like, I don't really want to go on vacation. Why? Well, because last time we went here, this happened. And then we went here and this happened. Then never work for me. I don't want to do it. And so you stop doing them, right? Because you get pessimistic. You're like, it doesn't work out. Because it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out for you, I don't think it's bad to say, I don't want to go on vacation. It never works out for me. Yeah, I would probably stop doing that too if it sucked. So, but for me, I'm an optimist. I always think it's going to work out because, yeah, you hope it does until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, that sucks. And you move on and then you try again. So that's my answer for this question. See you guys.